Welcome to the deep dive. We're back again, taking your sources this time. It's a really interesting article called "The Best Video Game Endings and the Worst, Most Agreeable Pastime."
Right.
And our mission, as always, is to dig into it, pull out the key stuff so you can get up to speed fast. Today, we're zeroing in on something, well, pretty universal for gamers. The ending.
Yeah, the big finale.
Exactly. Why do some just stick with you forever?
Yeah.
You know? And why do others make you feel like, seriously, that's it, after pouring hours in?
It's a great question. And the article makes a good point right off the bat. We expect so much from book or movie endings.
Right.
But with games, after like 50, 100 hours maybe?
Yeah, sometimes more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The ending can feel, well, tacked on, rushed. It's a weird disconnect, isn't it?
It really is. Okay, let's dig into that disconnect. Exhibit A for a, let's say, lazy ending, according to the article.
Well?
Grand Theft Auto 2 on the PlayStation.
Oh, okay. Classic.
Yeah, but think about it. You spent ages in that, like, top-down city, right? Doing missions, climbing the criminal ladder.
Trying to take down the bosses.
Trying to take down the bosses. You're expecting something, some kind of payoff, a wrap-up.
Some closure, at least. You've invested all that time and effort. You want the story to conclude properly.
And GTA 2's grand finale, the article calls it brutally anticlimactic.
How bad?
Literally, just the words, game complete, that's it.
No cutscene, no final mission debrief?
Nothing, just those words on screen, then boom,
Yeah.
back to the main menu.
Wow.
No congrats, no scory conclusion, not even credits.
Seriously, no credits. That's
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. The author was stunned, apparently.
Yeah.
Called it Rockstar's darkest hour, which may be a bit dramatic, but...
But you get the feeling, right? After all that, just game complete. It's like, thanks for playing, now get out.
It really highlights that feeling of an afterthought, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Why does that happen? Why put so little effort right at the very end?
Well, the article suggests, and it sounds plausible, it often comes down to the pressures of development.
Time and money, basically.
Pretty much. Time, budget, resources. They often get poured into the start and the middle of the game. You know, the parts most players will actually see and experience.
Right. Makes sense from a practical standpoint, I guess.
Yeah, the thinking is fewer players actually reach the ending, so maybe that's where you can afford to. Cut corners if you have to.
But that's the thing, is that the article points this out really well. Doing that, it can seriously tick off your most dedicated players.
The ones who actually stuck with it.
Exactly, the ones who saw it through. A bad ending can sour the whole game looking back.
And it can make them hesitate before buying the next one, right?
Absolutely. If the payoff is that weak, why bother investing again? It feels like a penalty for loyalty almost.
Yeah, that final impression is just so crucial. It can undermine everything good that came before it, leaves a bad taste, like a story that just stops.
Okay, so GTA 2 is the low point, the cautionary tale. Let's flip it. Let's talk about endings that worked. Really worked.
Good. Into some positivity here.
First up, the article brings up the 2008 Prince of Persia reboot. Calls it underrated, actually, with a really memorable ending.
Ah, yes, I remember that one. Very distinct art style.
And the ending really hinges on the relationship you build with Alika, the companion character.
That's right. The article mentions you can talk to her pretty much any time. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It lets you build this, like, a believable bond. There's humor, affection. It feels earned. The author compares it to Enslaved, another game that did that kind of relationship really well.
That constant interaction is key. It makes you care. So what happens at the end?
Okay, so the backstory is this big fight between light and dark gods, Ormazd and Ahriman. Ahriman, the dark one, gets locked away, but then Elika's dad lets him out to save her life. Bit of a mess.
Classic desperate dad move.
So your whole journey is about trying to push back Ahriman's corruption, heal the land with Elika's help.
Right.
In the final confrontation, Alika sacrifices herself to seal Ahriman away again.
Oh, okay. Heroic sacrifice. Powerful stuff.
But it's what happens next that the article really highlights.
Yeah.
The fight's over, Ahriman's contained, but Elika's gone, and you regain control.
You can play again after the climax.
Yeah. You, as the prince, pick up Elika's body,
Yeah.
and you just walk through the temple, which is now being cleansed, and the credits start rolling while you're walking.
Oh, wow. That's different.
You carry her out, lay her down in the sunlight. The article calls it surprisingly moving, and you can totally see why. It lets that moment breathe.
That sounds incredibly poignant. But wait, there's more, isn't there?
There is. That's the genius part. Credits finish. You're still there with Alika, and then you hear Ahriman's voice whispering.
Uh-oh.
He offers you a deal. cut down the 4 trees of light, the very things you just restored, the things sealing him, and he'll bring Alika back.
Whoa, okay. That's a choice.
A massive choice.
Yeah.
And the game makes you make it. You have to physically walk over and cut down those trees if you want her back.
So you can choose to basically undo everything you fought for love.
Exactly. And the article nails the theme here. Human frailty, love, morality. Is it right to doom the world for one person? It doesn't give you an easy answer. You just have to live with your choice.
Man, that does stick with you. Forces you to really think about the character's motivation and maybe your own.
Totally. Okay, next up, for memorable endings, but a very different vibe, BioShock 2's DLC, Minerva's Den.
Ah, Minerva's Den. Widely considered one of the best DLCs ever, right?
Definitely. And the article argues its ending is a perfect example of tight, impactful game storytelling.
So remind us of the setup. You're Subject Sigma, another big daddy.
Right. Exploring this Rapture Central Computing area, dealing with the Thinker, this big AI supercomputer.
And you're guided by Charles Porter, one of its creators.
Who's feuding with his old partner, Reed Wall, standard Rapture drama.
Uh-huh.
But early on, there are these hints that the Thinker can, copy human personalities.
Right, I remember that. You start thinking maybe it's got a copy of Porter's dead wife Pearl inside it.
Yeah, it sets up this kind of emotional expectation.
Mm-hmm.
But then comes the first twist.
Okay.
The Thinker reveals it has replicated a personality.
Yeah.
But it's Porter himself, a digital copy of your guide.
Ah, okay. So it copied him to help itself escape Rapture, maybe?
That seems to be the implication. But
Yeah.
then comes the real gut punch, the big one.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. The final reveal is that you, Subject Sigma, the big daddy you've been playing as the whole time,
Yeah.
you are the original Charles Porter.
What?
Yeah. Wall betrayed him. Andrew Ryan turned him into a big daddy, wiped his memory. The Thinker, the AI, orchestrated this whole DLC to rescue its own creator.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that recontextualizes everything. The whole game.
Completely. And those final moments, escaping in the bathysphere, seeing these fragmented pictures of Pearl, Porter's wife, it's incredibly powerful.
Because you, the player, have been this anonymous drone, basically.
Exactly. And suddenly you share this character's dawning awareness of a lost past, a lost love. The article emphasizes how uniquely gaming that experience is.
That direct identification, feeling that reveal alongside the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't get that exact feeling from a film.
It really shows how interaction can create these deeply personal moments.
Amazing twist. Okay, so we've had poignant, we've had mind-bending. What's next?
Okay, buckle up. Our final best ending example is memorable for, let's say, different reasons.
Uh-oh. I sense danger.
We're talking The House of the Dead,
Huh?
Overkill, the Wii light gun shooter.
Oh, right, the Grindhouse one. Super schlocky, tons of swearing.
Exactly. The article uses the phrase, burned onto my retinas for this ending, so fair warning.
Okay, braced.
The whole game leans hard into that cheap, gory, over-the-top grindhouse movie style. Think Planet Terror. Bad acting, continuity errors on purpose.
Right, it's all part of the charm, such as it is.
So you expect absurdity, but the ending, oh boy, it goes there. The villain,
Yeah.
Clement Darling,
Yep.
reveals he transplanted his dying mother's brain into the body of Varla Guns, the woman
Yeah?
you're supposed to be rescuing.
What? Okay,
Yeah.
that's disturbing.
Oh, it gets worse. The game heavily implies a really gross, incestuous thing between Clement and his mom.
Ew, okay, right. Grindhouse, got it.
And then, because why not, Varla, who is now mom, mutates into this giant, horrible hag monster.
Of course she does. Final boss time.
You'd think. You're ready for this grotesque fight, and then bam! Missing reel flashes on screen, like in the old movies.
Huh. Okay, that's kind of funny, actually.
It cuts, then cuts back, and your characters are just standing there holding miniguns they suddenly found, and the monster's already dead.
They just skipped the boss fight.
Skip the boss fight. Played completely for jarring, comedic shock value.
That is certainly memorable.
But wait. The final image the article mentions, without getting too graphic here, it's apparently designed purely to be as shocking and unforgettable as possible. Stays true to the grindhouse spirit, right to the bitter, weird end.
So memorable, yes. Emotionally relevant, like Prince of Persia, maybe not so much?
Definitely not. But unforgettable in its own bizarre way. So, okay. We've seen the bad GTA 2, the moving Prince of Persia, the clever Minerva's Den, and the just plain shocking Overkill.
Quite the range.
Which brings us back to that central question. why do these endings matter so much? Why do we care?
Well, the article sums it up nicely. Endings are the payoff, right? The reward for sticking with it.
Yeah,
They heavily influence whether you'll buy the sequel or tell your friends about the game.
good point. Word of mouth.
And just fundamentally, they color your whole memory of the experience. A great ending elevates everything. A terrible one can ruin it.
Think about it for you listening. Those games you finished. Which endings really stuck with you? Good or bad?
Which ones felt truly satisfying after all those hours?
And which ones just felt like a total letdown, maybe even a betrayal?
That final moment carries so much weight, doesn't it? So what is it for you? Is it getting answers? Is it an emotional hit? A cool twist? A sense of accomplishment?
Yeah, what makes an ending work after you've lived in that world for so long?
It's different for everyone, I guess.
So wrapping up this deep dive, GTA 2 showed us how not to do it.
Definitely.
Prince of Persia gave us emotional weight and player choice. Minerva's Den hit us with a brilliant narrative twist, perfect for gaming.
And overkill. Well, it was just unforgettable, wasn't it? For better or worse.
Absolutely. It really shows how a well-thought-out ending, even a deliberately shocking one, can just cement a game in your mind.
Leaves that lasting impact.
So, final thought to leave you with, games keep getting more ambitious with story.
Seems like it, yeah. More focus on narrative.
So are we going to see even more amazing, innovative, maybe emotionally complex endings in the future? Or will those classic pressures, time, budget, always mean some endings get shortchanged?
It's a good question. Will the finale finally get the consistent attention it deserves? Something to think about as games keep evolving.